By the end of last April, COVID-19 had already ravaged the New York metropolitan area. The virus had still only been in the United States for a few months, and there was a lot experts did not know. CDC Director Robert Redfield told the Washington Post, quote, "There's a possibility the assault of the virus on our nation next winter will actually be even more difficult than the one we just went through. We're going to have the flu epidemic and the coronavirus epidemic at the same time." And it was a totally reasonable concern at the time, and for months after that, there were no experts publicly disagreeing with him. The CDC estimated that the flu season that was just ending had been associated with, quote, 38 million illnesses, 18 million medical visits, 405,000 hospitalizations, and 22,000 deaths. The idea that a flu season like that would combine with the devastation seen in a place like New York to create unimaginable misery was a real threat. And because of COVID-19, well, Redfield was right. This past winter was a nightmare all across the country, the worst and deadliest in our lifetimes. But the flu had nothing to do with it because there was no flu in the U.S. this winter, basically. By this point last year, there were over 174,000 confirmed cases of flu. This flu season, look at that, has only 1,499 confirmed cases. That is less than 1% of the total at this time last year. The number of flu-associated pediatric deaths usually ranges between about 150 to 200 deaths per flu season. This year, that number is 1. There's been 1 confirmed pediatric death due to the flu this flu season. Wild, right? I mean, think to yourself, how often have you gotten sick? If you get COVID aside, have you gotten a cold? Have you gotten the flu? Have you gotten bugs over the last year? Not a lot of it, right? It seems like there are at least 2 things we can learn from this. One is that, definitively, and we know this already, the coronavirus is not the flu, no matter what certain people have said.
You got Ebola, that was it. This one is different, much different. This is a flu. This is like a flu.
No. COVID is not like the flu. It is much more transmissible, much more insidious. The lack of flu season proves that. I mean, with social distancing and masks and other measures, we were collectively able to almost completely suppress the flu. No flu. Not the coronavirus, though. Coronavirus kicked our butts. The second thing we can learn is that all these common sense public health practices that we could all recite by memory now, that we've been told by responsible leaders over and over to follow, that they really do reduce the spread of infectious diseases. I mean, despite the fact that people like the former president and people on Fox News and all sorts of right-wing cranks have been lying to people for a year, they don't. Here it is in black and white. This is the evidence. We've known this for like over a century. Germs travel in predictable ways. When you take steps to make it harder for them to travel to person, guess what? You suppress infectious diseases. And yet these folks have been lying to people about that for a year and contributing directly to getting more people sick in the process.
Here's what you need to know and what they're not going to tell you. There is, as of tonight, precisely no evidence that the lockdowns in America saved lives anywhere. In fact, it's possible that mass quarantines killed people.
Nonsense. You could say, well, the trade-offs were worth it, the cost. If people stop interacting with each other, they can't spread their germs to each other, and that reduces the vectors of infection, as we have seen with the flu. So maybe the way to respond to this is it's possible those measures saved countless lives. It basically allowed us to skip an entire flu season during the pandemic. Keeping people apart stops viruses from spreading. Can we all please agree on that now? Can we really just reach consensus on the germ theory of disease here in 2021?
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.